You should never just start posting on social media unless you have a strategy for conversions. If you're still putting out content and then you're telling people to head to the link, what's going to happen is, first of all, some of these platforms are going to start limiting your reach if you're telling people to do that, right? They're going to start limiting your reach. Why? Because their goal is to keep people on the platform as long as possible. So if you tell them, oh, head to my bio and do this, they may not push your content as much. That's one. Number two, it's way too many steps. You're telling your audience, head to my link, and guess what? They head there and then they get lost there. That's why you can see your clicks go up, but your checkout is not changing because they're getting lost there. So what's another strategy that you can use in order to convert? DM marketing. DM marketing. It is one of my favorite ways. Why? Especially when you're selling high ticket. I already talked about this. I said you gotta have touch points when you're selling high ticket. So high ticket is anything over $1,000. That's high ticket. Anything over $1,000, it now becomes an emotional decision for your audience to make in order for them to buy. If it's $27, it's just like, okay, yeah, I'll just lump that in with my coffee. But when it's like $5,000, when it's $10,000, now that's an emotional decision. So when you're putting out content, the content should hit the emotional triggers so that they will want to buy. Your DM marketing now allows you to have conversation. So there's some of you on here where you're obsessed with getting views because you think the more views, the better your content is doing. Your views don't equal dollars, comments do. So your goal is to get people to comment on your page. Why? Because comments lead to conversations, conversations lead to conversions. When you are selling high ticket, your goal is to have as many conversations so that your audience could actually convert. If you're not having conversations with your audience, well, that's why they're not converting. See, you thought I could just post the content, they will come, they will buy. That's what happened with so-and-so. That's what happened with so-and-so. But what so-and-so didn't tell you is that they have a sales system set up. And part of that sales system is to have a conversation with their audience. So if you're selling $1,000, $1,500, $5,000, $20,000, we have to increase your touch points on social media so that your audience will feel safe giving you that much money. And it's not just giving it to you, like they're investing in themselves through you, but they got to know that it's going to a person who's really going to help, because there are real scammers out here. There are. I haven't met them, thank God, but there are real people out here where you will invest in their services and you won't see them again. So you want to show your audience that you can be trusted, and you do that through conversation. Now, some of you listening to me right now, you're like, this is amazing, but I feel awkward in the DMs. Who am I talking to right now? Where you want to do DM marketing, but you feel awkward in the DMs because it feels like you're bothering people. So there's some of you in here where you feel awkward in the DMs because when it comes to you to DMing, you feel like you're talking to strangers, or you feel like you're bothering them. When you think about writing the message, it's like, oh, but I don't want to bother them. What if your next sale comes from your DM? What if your next $10,000 comes from your DM? That is how I was able to build my business to 6 figures, all because I was DMing my people, not cold DMs, right? I'm not talking about cold DMs, because there's some of you where you're like, oh, that's icky. I tried cold DMs, by the way, did not work for my brand. Kudos to the people who know how to do that. I'm talking about warm DMs. I'm talking about the DMs where you get to put out the content. You tell people to honor your call to action. They honor your call to action, and you slide in their DMs and start having a conversation with them. Those are the DMs that I'm talking about. It's a lot better because they already have a relationship with your content. So you now sliding in their DMs becomes natural. But if you don't know how to have a natural conversation and you're talking in the DMs and then it gets awkward, you're not going to get the sale. So what we show you in the challenge is how you can actually have a natural conversation that leads into the sale. That's it, in your DMs. So you don't feel icky, that person doesn't feel awkward, and they don't hit unfollow because you said the wrong thing. How many of you would love to have conversations with your audience in a way that actually leads to sales? Instead of you telling them, head to your link, you can actually have conversation with them in the DMs and guide them through the sales process. How much more could you convert? If you're already great at converting on your sales calls and you're already great at converting one-to-one, how much more could you convert if you were great at converting them in your DMs as well? I'm going to tell you right now, you can convert 10 times more because one-to-one on a sales call, you can only reach one person at a time. But in the DMs, you can reach 20 people at one time, just having conversations with them. This is why I like texting. I'm from the generation where texting blew up when I was in high school. So I'm accustomed to texting. You call me on the phone, I'm not going to answer. You send me a text, I could text you and do something else at the same time. So you doing DM marketing is not going to take away from your clients. It's not going to take away from you raising your children. It's just like an extension of texting. So you'll be texting and doing other things at the same time. But guess what? It is in you texting that you'll be able to get those sales.